Hey guys, SickMotion here with the patch 5.14 notes, my thoughts and opinions on them. I'm going to just skip over some of the stuff to start here. There's the new ARAM map and the new game mode, but I'm really just going to be talking about stuff that affects the rank, the normal play. So we're going to skip through all of that. The HUD update will be out later this patch as well. I think it's in normals right now, but it wasn't in ranked when I was just playing on the new patch, so a little bit later. So Gangplank's out, the Gangplank rework. Kind of interesting. I played him a little bit on the PBE, so it's hard to kind of gauge how strong he really will be. I've seen a lot of people play him today. A lot of the games were kind of a blowout, not because of him, so it was kind of hard to judge what he did. There's been blowouts with him on the team, blowouts against him. I've seen him support mostly as well. Uh, it looks kind of cool, just how his whole kit, he has like poke from his barrels, wave clear from the barrels, the farming system. His ult seems really strong now. Uh, the the eating an orange giving you a percentage of your missing health back. So he looks like he fits a lot better into the game. It'll be interesting to see how long it takes for people to start picking him up and how they want to build him. If I when I was playing him on the PBE, the one thing I noticed is that without a sheen, you felt really weak. So it's like a sheen item is almost needed because it applies that sheen damage AOE with 60% armor pen when you shoot a barrel with it, as long as it procs the sheen. So I think that'll be strong, but it'll be interesting to see. He seems pretty fun. Seems interesting. Misfortune, bit of an update. The thing I noticed the most is the portrait's a little bit different gold or color, so that's weird. Make it rain slow is higher early, lower later. There's no grievous wounds on her W anymore, so that's kind of weaker. It's a lower cooldown and activates your strut passive though, and they changed the way that the Q works and the bounce angle. I never really played Misfortune. I don't think anyone in the world really ever played Misfortune recently, so not going to really talk about that much more. Ari's charm bugged out monsters it has forever, so apparently that's a little bit more of a fix. Azir's passive no longer gives the attack speed based on cooldown reduction. Um, W just gives attack speed, so you don't really feel like you need to stack the cooldown reduction to get that attack speed, but you still can because it's still strong, obviously. And his E no longer knocks up the first champion hit. Still gives the shield, I'm assuming. Um, Interesting that it gives a reason to level the W more so now, just for that free attacks, because that's quite a lot of attack speed, 10% per level, and then obviously the lower cooldown on the W. Darius now gives vision in the area around the pool, which is kind of cool. Darius buffs. I don't think that's going to make him LCS superstar pick ban every game, but it's a buff. Echo, lower mana cost on Q and lower cooldown on E. So buffs, straight buffs. A lot of people have been playing him tanky in the jungle, and for the most part, I've seen that flop more than it's done well. But this will help that build as well a lot. It'll help any build, obviously. But Echo's kind of fallen out of play a little. I still don't think he's the greatest top lane. He has a lot of hard matchups, so I don't think that's going to make me take him top. Elise got some changes here. Her stun duration on the cocoon starts out higher but still scales to the same amount. So it's more useful early, and it doesn't feel like you need to level it for it to be noticeable, depending on what you want to level. So it gives you more ease in your level path. You can kind of level reactively rather than having a set path where like, oh, I only want to max E to be that utility stun bot. Her spider form now does magic damage, which synergizes more, obviously, if she has magic pen and stuff. The spiderling ratio on hits a little higher. They move faster, and fixed a bug where they wouldn't attack or move for 4 seconds after the initial cast of repel, which could be a really big problem because that's 4 seconds of no damage. And they do quite a little bit of damage. Evelyn, straight nerf to her hate spike, flat damage, and increase to her R's slow. Evelyn's been really annoying in the jungle. It's really annoying in solo queue because you can't really ward for her. So she can kind of take over games pretty quickly. Calista now properly queues up her Q. It's kind of weird to say. And after her basic attack completes, and apparently there were just issues queuing up her abilities after basic attacks. There was a bug with Rumble that no longer can damage untargetable enemies with Q and R. So I guess that was a bug. Um, no longer damages enemies who outrange the flame spitter's distance. I'm not sure how far that was to be how much of a change it'll be. So it'll be interesting to see. I think Rumble's still strong with all the AP item changes. The items he likes to build got buffed in general. I played Rise actually after this change. It was one of the couple games I played after. The stack duration from 10 seconds to 6 makes it way harder to hold on to your passive so that you're ready to go in, and it makes the openings that you have on Rise a lot more visible. And on top of all of that, your Q's base damage lost 10 damage after level 1, so level 2, 3, 4 per level. So it's 40 base damage off of Q at level 5, and that's what you're leveling because it makes your passive last longer. So that's super painful, and on top of all of that, the spell ratio on E got lowered, and the initial damage as well as the bounce back damage because it scales off the initial. Overall, it felt way harder to play Rise. This kind of sounds funny to say. And in those lanes where you have someone stacking MR, it's going to feel like you're probably not doing nearly as much damage. It's going to be harder to find those openings to do less damage. I still think he's really strong, but he might not be like a must-pick ban kind of feel anymore that's just completely unbalanced. So this is interesting. When I first read it, I didn't think it would be that impactful, but after playing it, I was like, can definitely feel that one. It hurts. Tongue Lash, more damage, up to 40 more base at level 5, so that might help his laning. Well, obviously it will. And bonus damage ratio based on your bonus to health is increased, and the cooldown on his ult is decreased. So just, I guess he wasn't being played as much as they had anticipated, so just buffs. Begins cooldown upon launching. So I think that's better. Tumble's attack will be consumed even if the target becomes invulnerable mid-flight. So that could be both good and bad, because you're going to lose that extra damage, but then it starts going on cooldown, so you'll have it off cooldown faster. Q3 applies on hits correctly. Steel Tempest Whirlwind now properly applies on hit effects to its first target. I didn't realize that wasn't working. So there's that. A little bit of a mana regen buff on the Hunter's Machete for 1 more mana per second while in combat with monsters, so that should actually help quite a lot on the initial clear with some AP junglers. The Runeglaive now, this is kind of the combat people taking it for lane, like the mid lane Smite Ezreal was really popular, and there were some other ones. I saw some Dianas doing it and such. The AoE damage now only applies to monsters, so you can't use it on champions or minions, so it's not very helpful for lane. It deals double damage to the monster first monster hit. So that's going to help junglers like Nidalee just plow through the jungle, I'm assuming. And no longer converts the basic attack damage into magic. So I guess there was some interesting things with that. But I think the big change is going to be solo laners probably won't want to take it because it doesn't apply a lot of its benefits to champions or in the lane. But it still applies that Sheen proc to champions for the jungler who buys it, so it doesn't feel like you're just buying that Sheen to be useless. I think one of the main problems with this item, though, is it forces you, if you want to go on an AP jungler, and then that AP jungler doesn't use mana, like if say you're jungling on like a Kali, it's going to feel like you're wasting a little bit of your build path early. Zeke's Harbinger. This item looks really cool. Really long thing that I haven't read here. But basically, it's something that builds out of a Glacial Shroud, and it gives mana, armor, AP, obviously, because it's building out of AP and armor and mana items. It's a 10% cooldown reduction still. Bind to a target ally. This will remove all other conduits on your target. 60-second cooldown, but when within 100 or 1,000 units of each other, you and your ally generate charges, stacking up to 100 and lasting for 8 seconds. Attacking or using ability generates extra charges at maximum charges. Causing damage consumes all charges, increases you and your ally's ability power by 20%, and critical strike chance by 50. So with a Phantom Dancer and an IE, an 80 carry is going to go to 100% crit chance for 6 seconds. It feels kind of like the Rise passive where you can see it coming and it's like a window of opportunity that you can either play against and they would have to play in that window of opportunity, so it can kind of telegraph engages or um, give you a powerful engage window. It'll be really interesting to see because that just sounds so strong, and that's not even taking into account the bonus ability power. You can obviously bind with someone who's a magic damage dealer and give them like at 500 AP, they're gonna get an extra 100 AP. That's pretty strong. I think the crit chance one is gonna feel pretty broken though. Dragon and Baron now have new global death sounds, and they now update the timers instantly for both teams, regardless if they have vision. So say no one on my team is warded all game, they get Baron. It tells us, the announcer announces that they took Baron, and then you have a timer on it. So it seems less snowbally, I guess. I don't know. That seems kind of really weird. The situation that I think is going to be kind of hurt is if you're doing really well on vision control, you've completely choked out the Baron vision. You're on Baron, the enemy team is running at it, and then you get it, and they don't know you've gotten it yet before this change, and then they run in and you get a couple picks with Baron because you've had that vision stranglehold. They can now turn around and be like, oh, well, they already got it. So it's going to make it a lot easier to know if they have Baron or if they haven't got Baron yet type thing. So it's not going to be any more like, oh, I'm in my base, should I even bother going to Baron, or do they have it already? We haven't seen anyone on the map with it yet. You're going to know, okay, it's not dead yet, there's still a chance, or not. So it's going to be an interesting change to, I don't know, feels Careberry to me, but we'll see how it goes and how it changes. Charms and Taunts will now lock Scuttle in place instead of making her confused. It's a girl. Charms, Taunt, Fears, and Fleas will all weaken Scuttle like other hard CC. Aatrox, Q, Darkflight now properly remove Scuttle's resistances. Crap battle. Probably the best line of text in this entire thing. That's funny. Death recap. Fixed a bug where death recap was showing the lowest 3 sources of damage rather than the highest. So yeah, I was getting like 8 damage from purple caster minion, 8 damage from purple melee minion, and I was like, good. The recap screen is still full in effect. So we'll see. We'll see now if it actually feels like it's even worth pulling up. Bug fixes. Cinder can no longer pick up. She could pick up Baron. I've seen stuff like Poppy pushing Baron a long time ago. I didn't realize that she could pick up Baron. And then there's a whole bunch of skins to do with pirates and boat stuff, which is cool, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. The biggest feel for me from this patch is gonna be this Dragon and Baron thing, because that's a big overall gameplay, regardless of whatever champion you're playing, thing that's different now. And one thing I wonder, it doesn't say in here, so I doubt it's changed because they normally would say it, if that affects threes, if you know if the enemy's gotten Vilemaw or not. I don't think it should, because threes is different because you can't ward in it, but I'm not sure. So that'll be interesting to see. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching the patch note rundown here. If you enjoyed it, make sure to check out the other videos on the channel and sub if you already haven't. My social media links, as well as my stream that I stream pretty much daily on, is in the description here. So check that out as well. Hope it helped. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy.